Good morning, everyone. I hope you had a fabulous weekend, and I'm really enjoying hearing about how your weekend went so far. If you have not yet responded to this morning's post, please take some time and let us know. Remember, this is never an exercise in judgment. This is all about creating awareness around our habits and our routines so that when we have that awareness, we can change things. We are noticing and we are naming. And as we get into today's topic called Weekend-itis, which could also perhaps be evening-itis for some of you, depending on what your typical habits, routines are, you might hear something that is familiar. But again, this is not judging. This is just helping you understand, how can I work with myself? How can I get just a little bit better this week, this weekend, etc. So you may be someone who suffers from this. And weekend-itis is basically doing really, really well Monday through Friday. But then once you get home Friday night, or maybe you're even great through Friday night, but on the weekend, you straight up fall off that wagon and the weekend is a free-for-all. Or maybe it's not even just the entire weekend, maybe it's Sunday. But there are things that lead us to suffer from weekend-itis, and I want to bring up some really great key points. This talk is just a little bit longer, but it's extremely valuable information. So if you need to just listen to it, like as you're driving into work or while you are starting your cardio, this will be a really great talk for that, because you're going to hear something that's like, oh, that sounds kind of familiar to me. So first of all, what makes us suffer from weekend-itis? Being perfect. If you are perfect all week long and you don't allow yourself any treats or any freedom, that is setting yourself up to fail on the weekends because of some of the next things that I'm going to say. Another way to catch weekend-itis is always going 100%. So you're either totally on track or you are totally off track, because you think once you have breakfast out with your friends and you have a pancake and a mimosa that the rest of the day is just going to go to shit. So remember, every meal is an opportunity to turn the day around. But if you are either all in or all out, you are going to suffer from weekend-itis. Trading off good behavior. So if you say to yourself, but I hit my macros every single day this week, I deserve. We do not deserve just because we did what we said we were going to do. What you deserve is to look and feel your best and reach your goals. So allow that to help you stick with your plan throughout the weekend, instead of saying, I've been so good, so I deserve dessert. I've been so good, so I deserve 7 drinks. Another way to suffer from weekend-itis is saying just screw it. So if you overeat or eat like the wrong, quote unquote, wrong foods, you don't stop eating, you just eat more. And this kind of is like going 100%. You're either all in or you're all out. But you think that that breakfast or brunch out with your friends is a reason to just keep making those kind of decisions, to go ahead and get French fries at lunchtime and then have pizza for dinner because screw it. I had pancakes and mimosas for breakfast, so I might as well just keep on going. And the last few things are here, allowing yourself a cheat day. So you guys probably know that I'm not a huge fan of cheat days. If you want something that you would eat on your cheat day, I say fit it in some other time, plan for it. A lot of times those cheat days lead to cheat weekends. And in addition to that, they make us feel gross when it's not our cheat day. There's all kinds of things that are, in my opinion, wrong with cheat days. Now, this is not to say that this strategy doesn't work for some people. I'm just more interested in an even steady keel. That's me. You may enjoy a cheat day. What's important is that you understand what works for you. The other thing with the cheat day is, when we see the end of our cheat day coming, we're like, oh my God, tomorrow's Monday. I must eat everything that I cannot have next week because I'm never gonna get it. I have to wait a whole other week to get it. When you guys know, if you want a Twizzler, fit a Twizzler in. You want a cocktail? Fit a cocktail in. Why do I need to save my Twizzlers and my cocktails for the weekends or just one day? And the other two that are really big and a little deeper are you living out familiar scripts and stories. So what are you telling yourself? And you can tell yourself anything and you can buy into it. Like, oh yeah, this totally makes sense. Because the weekends are a great opportunity for you to practice being a victim, but we don't want that because victims are not in control, and you know that you're in control. So it could be anything. You'd be like, oh, I was so busy, I didn't have time to plan my snacks or my meals, or I absolutely had nothing going on, so I just was mindlessly eating. So same thing, well, kind of the same thing, or opposites actually. You were traveling. Again, I didn't have all my perfect foods, so screw it. Or maybe you were at home and your home is not set up for success for you right now. It's full of all the kids' treats or, leftovers from an evening out where you brought home like the rest of your pizza or your hamburger. Or you were at work, or maybe you just ate alone. You had family social stuff going on. Or, it's anything. Any story will do, and we'll use it as an excuse of why we deserve or why we can't stick to our plan on the weekend. And you'll notice all of these stories put us as a victim because, as I mentioned earlier, they take our control away from us. And then finally, avoid the void. A lot of us only fall into this weekend-itis when we are alone because we're not supervised. Nobody's watching us. We can finally relax, let our hair down. No one's judging us in our eyes. So it might be late at night. It might be Sunday afternoon. It might be on your commute home from work. But in that brief time, nobody needs your attention. No boss, no kids, no aging parent. You are blissfully alone. And what goes better with alone than ice cream? So you're exhausted, but maybe you're relieved. Like, I'm so tired, but I can finally enjoy these delicious cookies all by myself in the peace and quiet. So you eat or you drink whatever you want simply because you are alone. And maybe you're filling up that void with things that you shouldn't. And that's what we're gonna get into next. So how do we not fall into these traps? I'm gonna go through each of those 7 things and give you a couple of strategies to help break through those patterns. So number 1, if you're a perfectionist, it's 100% or else you feel like a failure. Remember, be good enough. Always go back to the outrunning the bear. You don't have to be the fastest person. You just have to be a little bit faster than the slowest person. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be a little bit better than you were yesterday, or maybe a little bit better than you were last week. Like Doug said, yeah, I had cocktails and I probably ate more than I would during the week or whatever, but I did a lot better than I had in weekends past. That is progress, everybody. That's huge. And it's just you being aware. So remember, the decent method that you actually follow is better than the perfect one that you quit. You're not going to be perfect on the weekends. Just know that going in. So why set yourself up to fail? Remember, under promise, over deliver. So allow yourself to be good enough because you are good enough. All right. The second thing, being all or nothing. You're either all in or you're all out. Operate along a spectrum of options, right? Just because I can't have my perfectly portioned out 5 ounces of grilled chicken, 200 grams of broccoli, and 100 grams of rice doesn't mean that I need to eat like an asshole when I'm at 3 margaritas with my family. Nope. I can still get a grilled chicken option. I can get the salad. I can get fajitas. I don't have to get a burrito smothered in cheese and eat all the chips and salsa and 5 margaritas all at once. Nope. It's a spectrum. So again, you don't have to be all in or all out. Find a way where you can live. Like, we want to be fluid in all things. You got to find a way that's going to work for you so you can do things with your family and your friends, and you don't feel like you're missing out on everything all the time. And, look at what it is that you want. Is there a way that I can make this dish just a little bit better? Infection number 3, if you do the good, bad trade-offs, come back to your grown-up values. I haven't done this talk yet, but we're going to talk about help. I need a grown-up. We are all adults. Trade-offs are for kids, okay, right? Sometimes we bribe our kids. If you're good, I'll give you this. Yes, sometimes I do this. Right now, we told Brooks that if he kicks a goal in soccer, he gets a puppy. I do try to stay away from food stuff because I don't want him having issues with food later. I don't want him to think that food's a reward. I want him to know he can eat whatever he wants, pretty much any time. But trade-offs, good and bad trade-offs are for little kids and convicts. We're not trading good things for bad things. What you deserve, remember, is to reach your goals, to feel and look your best. You don't deserve dessert just because you were good all week long. If you want dessert, get dessert. Yeah, Lindsay, desperate times, desperate measures. But the thing is to make wise, loving, and kind decisions for ourselves. I want you 2 hours after you make that decision to still be okay with that decision. A lot of times, we just need to slow down and remember what it is that we truly, truly want. I want all of your decisions to be conscious decisions. You don't go on autopilot to where you're just zombieing out, looking in your pantry, eating Doritos while you're looking for the next thing that you're going to eat. Be aware of what it is you're eating and choose to eat the things that you really, truly want to eat, right? Slowing down is so key. Sometimes I'll even ask myself, do I really want another cookie? There's a thing, diminishing returns. 1 cookie is the best cookie in the world and you can savor it and love it. 2 cookies, once you're on your 4th cookie, you're no longer savoring and enjoying that cookie. Now you're just eating cookies because they're there. So think about that. Slow down for satisfaction. And that goes back to, eating slowly into 80% full. The screw it effect. This is a really, really good one. So learn your own physical hunger and fullness cues. Notice when, where, and why you're likely to just say, screw it. When you're more present and you slow down, you are less likely to throw everything out the window. So non-dieters, people who just eat, who are these people? They don't follow plans and rules and all this stuff. They're not counting, they're not tracking. They just eat when they're hungry and they stop when they're full. If you have any thin people in your life, anyone who's not obsessed with their weight, ask them how they do it. Well, I don't know. I just eat when I'm hungry and I stop when I'm full. What a novel concept, right? So how can we do more of that? No matter if it is like a Wednesday or a Saturday or a Sunday, a morning meal, a family get together, a social thing, just start to pay more attention to what it is that you're doing. If you keep trying to follow rigid and external rules, it's gonna lead to overeating things that you don't want. You need to put that locus of control back to you. You are in control of the decisions that you make. Oh, absolutely, Lindsay. So she gets to screw it when she gets too hungry. That is why one of my number 1 rules is don't get so hungry. We never want to get to that 8, 9, or 10 level of hunger on a scale of 1 to 10. Because 8, 9, and 10, we make decisions that we wouldn't normally make in our sane brain, but because we are hangry and we're not in the right frame of mind, we just go. We see it and we go and we can't stop. But if you're at a 7 and it's been 3 to 4 hours since you ate last, you can stay in control. And that's a beautiful thing. Because at the end of the day, you look back and you're like, I had a really great day. I can't wait to have another great day tomorrow. And then the last 3, so having that cheat day, cultivate an abundance mindset around food. You can have anything you want whenever you want it. That food is no longer sexy. I can have ice cream anytime I want, as much as I want, whenever I want it. Well, maybe that's not the case necessarily. It is, because I know I can make a decision that I'm comfortable with 2 hours after the fact. So I don't want you to think in terms of scarcity, that you can never have X, Y, or Z again because you're tracking your macros or you're trying to lose a couple pounds. Fit it in. Plan for it. So with Halloween coming up, I will have a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Maybe I'll have 3. But it's going to be a conscious decision. I'm not just going to be sitting around here and just go for it. It's going to be planned, calculated, and it will not be a regretful choice. You can have whatever you want whenever you want it. And then finally, the last 2, scripts and stories. What do you keep telling yourself? So remember, we can rationalize anything. That's what our brains are supposed to do. They're supposed to make sense of things. That's what helps us. But sometimes our brains focus on the wrong reasons, and they tell us stories that aren't necessarily true. So our brain might tell us that we eat when we're busy, bored, or traveling, or working, or not working, or having family dinners, or eating alone, or any number of other causes that sound logical. And you're like, well, that's why I do what I do, because of all these excuses. Those stories make sense. You can see the evidence. Like, those stories are definitely true. But these stories make us feel again like we don't have choices, because I was busy, because I was at my mom's, because I was at a party, because I was alone. You can control your actions. You are not a victim of your circumstances. So again, take control again. When you feel powerless, when you don't have control, right? You feel powerless. Like you can't be in charge of yourself, but you are in charge of yourself, and you are in charge of the decisions that you make. And it's not like going to your mom's house makes you overeat. No, you make you overeat. I actually have a client like this. She's like, well, I was visiting my mom again. So, like, we're adults. Mom, I don't want that. Mom, I brought my own. What's mom going to do, right? And anytime other people give you flack about things like this, you know that's about them. It's making them look at themselves, and why are they not making the same decisions that you're making? So that's a whole other conversation. But so what can you do instead of, falling into the scripts and stories that you're telling yourself? Number 1, accept and allow the feelings, thoughts, and urges you may have in certain situations. These may not change. So when I go to my mom's house, I really want to have the pumpkin bread that she always has this time of year. Notice when you are telling yourself these stories and familiar scripts. Don't judge them, just notice them. I notice that I'm saying whenever I go to my mom's house, I'm using that as an excuse. Okay, that's interesting. Consider how much control you actually do have over your actions. Is it really true that going to your mom's house or going to, happy hour with your friends makes you overeat? Or is it just the fact that you're not making the best decisions possible? And then our final infection, the void. How do we get out of this? Get out of your head and into your life. And I see this a lot with my one-on-one clients. So as soon as things quiet down and you're no longer around people, maybe you're a little bit lonely, or you just finally feel freedom and you can finally relax, and relaxing to you equals comfort food. What we need instead of comfort food and things of that nature, we just need better connection. We need better meaning in our life. We need more purpose in our life. So reaching for snacks or a glass of wine is oftentimes better than facing that alone feeling that we feel. And I laugh, but it's obviously not funny, because this is a real thing. Like, I'm feeling empty, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling alone. This wine's gonna make me feel better. These cookies will make me feel better. When actually they end up making you feel worse in the long run. So what can you do? Just do something. If you are lonely, if this is something that you deal with, reach out, text somebody, call somebody, message someone, right? There's no shortage of ways to get a hold of people these days. But start to build relationships that really matter to you. Because this is not about just filling up with more things to do. I'm actually team do less. Do less of things that you don't want to do, but do more of things that really fill you up. Because the more you're filled up by things that are not food related, the better off you're going to be, and it's going to be easier to make good decisions. We went to a neighbor's house this Saturday, and it was awesome. I didn't know I had neighbors that I liked in this neighborhood until Brooks started school, and I saw a couple moms. They have kids the same age, and I was so pumped when this woman, Susan, invited us over to her house. Susan is awesome. I could tell I liked her like the second we started chatting. And this weekend, we were at their house. We had a couple drinks. There were chips and things like that around. You know, I had my cocktail or two, but I wasn't tempted by the snack foods around. Number one, because I didn't go hungry. But number two, because I was enjoying the company of these new friends. So it wasn't like I was eating because I was bored at a party where I probably know people that I don't want to talk to. But I was making new, meaningful relationships. It feels different. So start to fill that void with meaning in your life, whether it's volunteering, new friends, or spending more time with the friends that you have, or connecting with the friends that you have more often, someone that maybe that doesn't live by and you can't spend a lot of time with. Shoot them an email. How else can you connect with them? And again, start to notice this. When I feel lonely, do I fill that void with food and or drink? So I told y'all this was a little bit longer talk, but it's really important. What can we do? How are we going to fix this? Bottom line, make complete, wise, and loving choices. And this will make more sense, this little phrase, when I talk about help I need a grown-up. Just remember that you are in control. A complete choice is one that understands all the trade-offs, right? You say yes to something, you say no to something else. You say yes to that fourth cookie, you're saying no to hitting my macros. So a complete choice understands the trade-offs now and in the future. This feels good right now, but is it going to feel good 2 hours from now? What do I really want? A wise choice is one that steps back and considers the option. You're present when you make a wise choice. A loving choice is one that is kind and caring, that tries to take care of you. So if it happens to be a weekend or an evening, whatever your, problem area is, notice yourself drifting towards familiar stories if you have one. And that's a red alert. You should be like, okay, I need to reframe this somehow. And we'll talk about reframing later on. But pause, take a moment, and breathe. Consider all the options that you have available to you and make the best choice possible, because you are in control, right? You always have the power to choose. Don't forget that. You're not a victim. Don't be a victim of your circumstances. Don't be a victim of fate. Be the captain of your destiny. That's from Brendon Burchard. It's something like that, but it really resonated with me. But you're in charge. Don't let other people, situations, or things make you think otherwise. I'm gonna give you guys a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm gonna type this out just in case you're a visual learner. You have something to reference, because this right here is huge. If you guys have questions on this, let me know. If you notice one of these things that's yours, let us know. We all have one of these things. I know I do more of the good bad trade-off. I'll own it. I do that sometimes. It's fine. Right? We all have our stuff. All we can do is notice and name and make another decision the next time we're in that same scenario. You guys have a wonderful Monday, and I'll talk to you soon.